there lived a young and beautiful girl named Ifechukwu. One day, at a friend's wedding, she met Obiora.
For what exactly? Or is it for spending your wealth on another woman while you let your wife and child suffer? Tell me why I should forgive you.
But Obiora's secrets were closer to unraveling than he realized. And Ifechukwu was about to uncover the truth that would change everything. Ifechukwu returned home with her newborn son cradled in her arms. But the once flickering hope in her heart had turned to ashes. Their cramped one-room apartment felt even smaller now, suffocating her with its damp walls and creaking furniture. Despite the holding of her baby, she couldn't shake the memory of Obiora's cold indifference during her most vulnerable moments. Life after childbirth became even harder. Obiora's rationing grew stricter. Ifechukwu, do you know how expensive food is? Especially baby food, he barked one evening. You have to make do with pap. We can't afford buying imported milk for babies right now. Ifechukwu swallowed her frustration, focusing on her son's needs, but each passing day brought more questions she could no longer ignore. Where was the money Obiora claimed to be saving? How could a man who worked so hard have so little to show for it? Her suspicions began to grow when she visited Obiora's supposed uncle's shop one afternoon. She had gone to plead with the uncle to pay Obiora more so they could afford baby essentials. She didn't meet Obiora, so she called the staff there. To her surprise, the staff treated her with unusual respect, calling her Madam. Madam, welcome, a young shop assistant said, rushing to clear a seat for her. Ifechukwu blinked and, confused, I'm here to see the owner of the shop, Obiora's uncle. The assistant exchanged a puzzled look with another worker. Owner. But isn't the owner your husband? Ifechukwu froze. What did you just say? Mr. Obiora owns this shop now. He even owns the next two shops close to it. You just had a baby boy, right? For some time he had not been coming frequently. Ifechukwu was stunned. His heart raced as the pieces began to fall into place. The uncle was a lie. This wasn't a struggling family business, it was Obiora's thriving empire. Feigning calm, she left the shop, her mind swelling with questions. Her walk home felt like a blur. Once she entered their small apartment, she sat down and stared at the peeling walls. The single bulb hanging from the ceiling and the small mattress where her son lay asleep. No, she muttered to herself, shaking her head. This man is wicked, she continued. How could he? I almost died believing my husband was struggling. Oh no, I can't live like this anymore. I need to take care of myself and my son. But how? Ifechukwu decided it was time to revive her old saloon business. The skill she had left dormant while focusing on her husband and home could now become her lifeline. Especially since it was obvious that the man he loved was nothing but a cunning manipulator. When she told Obiora about her plans that evening, his reaction was lukewarm. You want to start a business now? Isn't it better to focus on the baby? Running a saloon will distract you. I've made up my mind, Obiora, Ifechukwu replied firmly, surprising herself with her boldness. I won't keep struggling like this for the rest of my life. I'll find a way to support this family, whether you like it or not. Obiora hesitated, his face clouded with irritation. But in the end, he said nothing. Within weeks, Ifechukwu's saloon began to flourish. Her reputation for creating beautiful hairstyles spread quickly, and soon women from all over Aba and its environs came to her shop. It wasn't long before she met Lucinda, a bubbly young woman who became one of her regular customers. Oh, Ifechukwu, my boyfriend, is just the best, Lucinda gushed one afternoon as Ifechukwu braided her hair. You won't believe it, but he just surprised me with a car for my birthday. Ifechukwu forced a smile, trying to hide her discomfort. That's nice. You're lucky to have someone who loves you so much. Lucinda beamed. Lucky, he doesn't even begin to describe it. He also rented me a three-bedroom apartment a few weeks ago. It's so beautiful. I keep telling him he spoils me too much, but he says I deserve it. Ifechukwu's stomach churned as Lucinda continued to boast. Each word felt like a knife twisting in her heart, reminding her of the husband who had not only lied about his earnings but had done nothing but neglect her since their marriage. Over the months, Lucinda's stories became a regular feature whenever she visited the salon. She would talk endlessly about her perfect boyfriend who showered her with gifts and affection. Ifechukwu listened silently, her frustration growing with every tale. Then one fateful day, Lucinda arrived with a wide grin on her face. Ifechukwu, guess what? I'll be traveling with my boo for a vacation to Paris next week. Really? Ifechukwu asked surprised. Wow, that's amazing. Yes, so I love him so much. Here, see our picture when we went to pick up our visa from the agent. He's taking pictures, but I convinced him this time. Ifechukwu smiled weakly. Let me see. Lucinda pulled out her phone, scrolling through her gallery until she found the photo. Here is my handsome Obiora. Ifechukwu's world stopped. She stared at the screen, her eyes locked on the image of her husband smiling alongside her customer. Obiora? She whispered, her voice barely audible. Lucy nodded, oblivious to Ifechukwu's shock. Yes, that's my darling Obiora. Isn't he cute? Don't tell me you know him. Ifechukwu's hands trembled as he handed over the phone back to her, forcing a smile. No, I don't know him. He looks nice. Inside, she felt like screaming. Her suspicions were confirmed. Obiora wasn't just living a double life. He was the man Lucinda had been boasting about all along. Now, she realized the puzzle. Lucy was short form for Lucinda, and he really truly was a very wealthy man. That evening, when Obiora came home, Ifechukwu confronted her husband, her voice shaking with anger and heartbreak. Obiora, how long did you think you would keep this from me? How long were you going to make me and your son suffer while you pampered Lucy with cars and apartments? Obiora's face paled, his usual confidence nowhere to be found. Ifechukwu, how did you know about Lucy? How did you know about the apartment? Well, I can explain. Don't you dare, she snapped, her voice rising. We've been married for 2 years, Obi, and all these years you've been lying to me. I have done nothing but love you unconditionally, remained a loyal and faithful wife, and this is how you repay me? You disgust me, Obiora. Obiora's once sudden face turned into a frown. What is it, Seth? I didn't tell you I was rich, and so what? So you want to tell me you want me to tell you I open shop so you can spend all my money? Try to show yourself as real dogu, rich man wife. Please go and sit down. Is that all you have to say? Is that all you have to say, Ifechukwu countered? What about Lucy? How could you buy her a car when you refused to buy me a gas cylinder? You refused to pay for my medical bills. How could you? I didn't have that kind of money to waste, he said firmly. Please, I have an important appointment. I will not stand there and banter unnecessary words with you, he said, walking out of the house. Ifechukwu sat in the dimly lit apartment, her mind racing. The betrayal she felt was overwhelming, but she knew she couldn't afford to break down, at least not yet. Her son slept peacefully in his crib, unaware of the storm brewing around him. Obiora had not come home since after he stormed out. The next morning, she decided to take matters into her own hands. Ifechukwu called Lucinda to set up a meeting. But when she called, an unfamiliar voice picked up the call. We've been searching for people who know her, but no one has admitted to knowing her. Your friend is unconscious and is lying at St. Peter's Hospital. She had a ghastly motor accident with her partner last night.
We need you to come as soon as possible. Ifechukwu was confused. She didn't know whether or not to confront Lucy. She was certain that the partner they were referring to was her husband. After several deliberations within herself, she decided to go. When Ifechukwu got to the hospital, she found Obiora lying helplessly, his legs in casts. The doctors explained that the accident had crushed his legs, leaving him unable to move without assistance. His recovery would be slow and uncertain. They were on their way to the airport when a drunk trailer driver hit them, the doctor explained. The other passenger, Lucy, sustained a severe head injury and has been in coma since. Her chances of recovery are slim too. Ifechukwu felt a flicker of pity for Obiora, but it was quickly overshadowed by the memories of his betrayal. She remembered trekking under the scorching sun while he lavished Lucy with gifts and luxury. When Obiora finally woke up, his voice was weak. Ifechukwu, he whispered, tears streaming down his face. Please, please forgive me. Please, I know I've failed you. I know I've hurt you. Please forgive me. Ifechukwu's eyes were cold. Forgive you, she said, her voice steady. For what, Obiora? For lying about what you earned? I should forgive you? Or for almost letting me die? When trying to have your baby, I should forgive you. For what exactly? Or is it for spending your wealth on another woman while you let your wife and child suffer? Tell me why I should forgive you. Obiora could only weep, his words lost in shame. You don't deserve it, Obiora, but I will take care of you. Not because you deserve it, but because I refuse to stoop to your level. When Lucy regained her consciousness a month later, Ifechukwu insisted that she should take care of her beloved boyfriend, but she refused and not long after fled Aba to an unknown town, claiming she couldn't be stuck with a crippled man for life. A few months later, Obiora was discharged from the hospital. Ifechukwu took care of him, but this time it was on her own terms. She made sure he had what he needed to survive, but not enough to be comfortable. The man who once treated her with disdain was now at her mercy, and she made sure he felt every ounce of the pain he had caused her. Obiora was moved into the same one-bedroom flat he had forced her and their baby to live in, while she moved into his duplex. The small space felt even smaller now that he was confined to a wheelchair. Ifechukwu ensured the flat was functional, but bare, just a bed, a table, and an old fan that barely worked. Each morning, she would send someone to deliver his breakfast, usually a small portion of bread and tea. Lunch was also modest, often rice with a thin layer of stew. Dinner followed the same pattern. There was no variety, no indulgence, just enough to keep him alive. One day, Obiora called her. His voice was weak, almost pleading. Ifechukwu, can you send me a little more food? It's not enough. I'm still very hungry. She paused before answering. What do you mean by not enough? Obiora, do you remember when I used to beg for just one decent meal while carrying your child? This is more than what you gave me. Please, be grateful, Joe. Water was also rationed. The tap in his flat only ran for 1 hour each day. Obiora quickly learned to store as much as he could during that time. Once he ran out, he would have to wait until the next day. Electricity was no better. She provided a single bulb and a fan, but the power frequently went out, and she made sure she bought very small units of power, leaving him to sit in darkness most times, sweating through the humid nights. One scorching afternoon,
Obiora called her again. The heat is unbearable, Ifechukwu. Can you send someone to buy more units? She chuckled lightly. Obiora, why are you being extravagant? Learn to manage. Manage. Do you remember when I used to trek under the sun while you drove Lucy around in your air-conditioned car? Now, you know what it feels like. If there was one thing Ifechukwu never failed to do, it was to remind him of the life he had thrown away. Each evening, she would call to update him on how much he was worth. Obiora, she said one day, her tone as cold as ice. Your company made 700,000 naira today, oh. Isn't that amazing? Oh, I forgot. I'm just telling you how much you have today. Why are you doing this? He whispered, tears streaming down his face. I'm just being honest now. Honesty was something you never gave me, so I thought I'll show you what it's like. For the next month, Ifechukwu managed Obiora's business. Despite her bitterness, Ifechukwu kept her word to care for him, but only from a distance. She ensured he had enough to survive, but not enough to forget the pain he had caused. Relative eventually intervened. 1 year after the accident, Obiora's best friend came to Ifechukwu, pleading with her to bring him back home. He is your husband though, he said. I know he failed you. I warned him but he won't listen. Please, I beg you. You're better than this. Let him live with his family. Show him grace, even if he didn't show you the same. After much thought, Ifechukwu relented. She agreed to bring Obiora back into their home, but not without conditions. When Obiora returned, he was a changed man. His once proud demeanor was replaced with humility. Confined to a wheelchair, he watched as Ifechukwu ran his business empires with a skill and brilliance he had never imagined. She became a pillar of strength, a symbol of resilience. Every day, Obiora saw the life he could have had if he had treated Ifechukwu with love and respect. He witnessed her kindness to others and her unwavering dedication to their child. And every day, he felt the weight of his mistakes. One evening, as they sat in the living room, Obiora looked at Ifechukwu with tears in his eyes. Ifechukwu, he said, his voice thick with emotion. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm grateful for your mercy. You didn't have to bring me back. You could have left me to rot, but you didn't. I will spend the rest of my life making amends. Ifechukwu looked at him silently for a moment. Obiora, she said, her voice calm but firm. Mercy is not weakness. I brought you back because our child deserves to see what forgiveness looks like. But never mistake my kindness for acceptance of what you did. You have a long way to go. Though their marriage never fully healed, the experience left Obiora forever humbled. Ifechukwu, on the other hand, flourished. She became a symbol of strength as people wondered how a woman with a modest beginning could manage such wealth with such grace. And while Obiora carried the weight of his past, Ifechukwu carried the light of her future, one built on her own terms. The end. Thank you so much for staying with me through this emotional journey. This story teaches us a powerful lesson about honesty, integrity, and the consequences of selfishness. Obiora's lies and betrayal cost him not only his wife's trust, but also the happiness of his family. On the other hand, Ifechukwu's resilience shows us the strength of a determined woman who rises above adversity. The moral of this story is clear. Deceit and greed will always lead to destruction, while hard work, self-reliance, and honesty paves way to true happiness. Remember, relationships thrive on trust and transparency. So when you choose lies over love, you risk losing everything that truly matters to you. I hope you enjoyed the story. I would like to hear from you. Please tell me what you enjoyed most about the story. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating stories. Let's keep learning, growing, and being inspired together. Till we meet again. Thank you so much. Bye.